Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to go to ceres.procer.co/sign in. You're going to put in your username and your password, and then just click on sign in. When you've signed in, you are then going to select the site that you want to have a look at. So we have 3 sites here, one local one, 2 sites that are one is in Uruguay, the other one is in Brazil. So let's go to the Uruguay one. The first page that it's going to put you into is going to be the main dashboard. So as we discussed earlier, you're going to see the dashboard with an overview of all of your silos, showing what the status of them is, the minimum, average, and maximum temperatures, the type of grain that's in there. This is a Spanish site in Uruguay, of course, so everything's going to be in Spanish. Arroz is rice. The moisture content that you took it in at, and then the inventory that you have available in the silo. From there, you can go to a detailed view of that silo, but we're just going to go through all the dashboards before then. From there, we're going to go to the weather station dashboard. From there, we're going to see what the weather conditions are at that specific site. So this site, 0.5 degree Celsius. It's morning at the moment there, early morning. Relative humidity is 87%. There's no rain, and it is slightly cloudy. There next dashboard we can see is the temperature sensors for the specific silo. You can choose which silo you want to have a look at here. Let's say silo 19. Silo 19 is going to give you in the last 24 hours what the average temperature was, the maximum temperature was, and the minimum temperature was. Next dashboard is the total inventory. So you're going to see there on your total capacity, which on this plant is 41,000 tons, what the estimated inventory is in that based on the 3D scanners that you have in the system. At the moment, we can see we're at 56% total capacity, and here it just gives you a breakdown of the types of grains that you have and how many you have in the grain. Well, the main ones on the dashboard. So this will be arroz is rice again, and the SES 1-to-1 would be some wheat. The next dashboard is the aeration control dashboard, which we have here. Aeration control will have the silos. You can also have warehouses in there. I don't think we're going to really, for this use, have the warehouses. In the silos, you can see for the aeration control, say on this silo, the program that it's running at the moment is none because we're in manual mode. The command on the relay is off. The feedback from the motor is off, and in the panel, so on the motor control panel, it is in manual mode. And then the operating hours, that would be in the last 24 hours operating as well. The status, there's going to give a exclamation mark because the panel switch is in manual position. If the panel switch would be in automatic position, that would just show as correct. We can then again go into the detailed view. Here on the dash, next one is the equipment. So here all your sensors are going to be listed and their status. So the main control card for the main aeration control panel for for silo 15, that's communicating. Remote station on the weather station, you see that's not reading at the moment. The weather station, the other weather station is reading. Aeration control, then you can just switch to the next page. For the equipment, so here you're going to see the equipment, what the sensor number is, what the type of sensor is. This is a temperature sensor, which silo it is, when the last time was that it communicated, and then that it is communicating. Okay, so let's go into some more detailed views on the silos. So from the main menu, we were on the dashboard. We're just now going to go directly to the silos. We're going to get a visualization of all the silos just coming up in a grid format, so we can see most of these silos are actually empty at the moment. Let's choose one that is actually full. Here you're going to get your details on the temperature sensor. So here you can see what the temperature is. It also gives you a heat map. So you can see in the middle of the silo, you're starting to get some higher temperatures. That obviously, as you would know, would indicate some moisture migration that might be happening at the moment in that silo. The next sensor that we can have a look at is the relative humidity sensor. So that'll give you the map of the grain as well. Then it'll give you the relative humidity of the intergrain humidity in the silos. After that, you can go to the hygroscopic equilibrium, which we discussed earlier. That will just show you what the hygroscopic equilibrium is. If there are some problems, it's going to show up here as red. At the moment, it's yellow, so that is fine. We can then also go to top view of the silo just to see the sensors, see the sensor placement in the silos. And then, of course, we can go to the 3D view. So the 3D view is going to give you the visualization of the silo based on the 3D scanner that is in the silo as well. So there you can see the grain heap, what it looks like. You can also then see all your temperature sensors and scanners, all your temperature sensors information on there as well. By turning the silo, you can see. We can also then here in the dashboard next to that, see what the grain is that is being stored in there, what the density is that you set up in beforehand. The sampling, the moisture content when you took it in was 13.5. Impurities was 0.5 average on it. Here you also have the temperature, quick temperature details of the minimum, the average, and the maximum in the silos. You'll see at the top it's pretty hot, 38 degrees. And then also the relative humidity, minimum, average, and maximum in the silo. Here also you're going to see the stock level in the silo. So we're at 91.1% stock capacity, which would be 6,364 tons, as you see there, or 106,000 bags. In Brazil, they like to use bags. We can see here also the aeration controls are on at automatic. The aeration command is on. So the program is for cooling and conserving soya. Each type of grain has two settings that you can do for the aeration automation. You can either do conservation and cooling, or you can do dry aeration as well. So there we have the objective is cooling and conservation. Here it says what the operating time was in the last 24 hours, how many time you did the aeration was running in automatic mode, how long it was running in manual mode. Heating variable, you can you can adjust yourself depending on local conditions. Also here is just the status bar on the aeration. Again, like we had in the dashboard in the front, the command is in off. It doesn't have the right conditions to aerate. The return from the fans, or the feedback from the fans, is that they are in the off position and the panel is in automatic position. This is the amps that the motor was pulling while it was running, and that is the motor size of the fan that you have. And on this silo we have two fans. So we're back at the main dashboard. We're then just going to go to the dryer. So this system only has dryer monitoring on it. We go into the dryer. From here we just click onto the dryer to get a detailed view on it. Like I said, this is the dryer monitoring only. So here we're going to get on this side just the specifications on the dryer. When it's running, it's going to be set up according to the grain that you want to dry. Nominal capacity is 80 tons per hour. Drying time, that would be in the last 24 hours that you've dried. The manufacturer is CASP, which is a Brazilian dryer, and then the model just added there. Here we have dryer cleaning, so that's just going to be an hour meter for how long the dryer has run compared to the scheduled cleaning of the dryer. On this screen here, we're going to see the dryer, so the air outlet temperature, which is going to give you an indication of the drying efficiency of the dryer. The grain mass temperature, so what's the grain temperature of the grain inside the silo, and then the air inlet, how hot is the air coming in from the silo. Using the dryer management system, the dryer manager is going to use this information to adjust your dryer accordingly, so that you use the least amount of energy to get the best result out of that. We're back at the dashboard. From here, we can start checking our graphs. So the graphs would be, we go to reports, then we can see thermometry reports, let's say for the last 3 days. Apply that, we say we want to see all of the silos, filter that out, and then we're going to get the report for the temperatures in the silo. So that would be at intervals. The time interval would be set automatically to every 2 hours. So the last temperature that we measured was at 11 on the last day that we selected. There we have all the temperatures for each silo for each cable that is in the silo. Again, then for 2 hours earlier, 9 o'clock in the morning, what was the temperature? 7 o'clock in the morning. And by doing this, you're able to actually track problems that happened as they happened. So you have historic data on this. You're also able to export this information to a PDF or a CSV file to use in Excel, so you can check trends and see trends that happen through time. The next report that we are able to take is aeration operation. So aeration operation, we would say we want to see again, let's say for the last week. We can get is aeration operation. So aeration operation, we want to see, let's say on silo 10 for the last week. And the trigger would be the motor or the relay. You can choose. The motor, I think, is the best option here because that's actually going to give you, that's not going to give you a false reading based on the relay activating but the motor not activating. Here you're going to see on the first fan what the time was that was running in manual, what the time was that ran in automatic, and what the total time was that was used. Again, same for fan 2 on this silo. Then the next analysis would be the hygroscopic equilibrium. That's what we want to chase, right? We want to see what the we want to have everything in our hygroscopic equilibrium. So we're going to choose silo 10, see what we have here. So here we can see that the panel activated when the hygroscopic equilibrium went above 18%. So then we had about every time it activated it when it was above 18%, it activated the aeration, and the aeration ran for 3 hours and 58 minutes to maintain the hygroscopic equilibrium. And this is just the program that we have. So it's for soya and it's for cooling and preservation of soya. And that's the parameters that it uses to calculate the hygroscopic equilibrium and also when to start the aeration fans. For the CO2 sensor, we only have that installed in one of the silos. So let's see for this week what we had in the CO2 sensor. And here we can see what the CO2 sensor did. We are again measuring in 2 hour time intervals. And here it shows you what the CO2 levels were in the silo roof cavity during this time. So green is good. Blue is even better because that means very low. So here you have the legend for what is good and what is bad. So you see here 400 to 600 is normal levels. Incipient deterioration, so that means it is starting. And then above that, high deterioration and severe loss. Would be to go to the storage management unit, and we can go to receiving and shipping. So in receiving and shipping, you can then have a record of everything that you've shipped in and shipped out. And then you can also add operations. And then you can also add receivings or receipts, or you can add the shipments on here. So you can have that there would be pre-set up what the customer is, storage unit, which one we have access on this system, who is responsible. That would be me because I am logged in on the system. The date and time would be now, so that all is fixed. We say we have received grain. What type of grain? Again, this is the Spanish one, so we'll say we have received let's say sorghum. From the sorghum, the origin we can add, what the area was, the quantity we add in, how many tons we received, the license plate of the truck that delivered the grain, and then also the destination. So we'll just say here it was from Pretoria. It was 50 tons. The license plate was HJ. Right, the destination, which we can set it up, that would not be unloading location, would be at pit 1, So this is always also going to give you indication if you have cameras of where to have a look. Insert your observations. So you can say it's all good, and then you can save it. Of course, we don't have writing access. These are all live sites that we have on here. If we do a shipment, everything is going to be pretty much the same. Sorghum, the origin is going to be there. You're going to be able to select from which silo you pulled it, how many tons you pulled it, to what truck you sent it, and then the destination. You can also add that would be pre-set up. And then the contract number, you can put up which contract that's been delivered under. So that is the basic operation of the Procer system. There's a lot of other functions that you can dive into. So thank you for having listened to us, and then we look forward to having your questions.